thing, we're going to add the 3D fillet. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where you can actually apply the fillet when you're in 3D. So before we do that, I'm gonna change the material here into a different plastic, so this can be a little bit easier to see because I've got a light background and the part's getting light. We've got a lot of work planes, so I'm just going to change that to a resin, and you can change it to anything you want to make it easier on you. But I was having a little difficulty seeing, and I thought the fillet would be hard to see at that point. So just using the fillet command, this is the 3D fillet. We're going to make each one of those fillets 0.15. Place that fillet on the edge, hit the OK button, and that's going to finish up the fillet. So it look that part is starting to really look like a plastic um, edge to the dryer. So let's go ahead and use the shell command, and let's take all of that extra material out the back side of this. So what we're going to do now is to pick shell. What we want to do is to pick the two surfaces that we want to be removed. So we're going to pick the very end, and then we're going to pick the back as the locations that need to be removed. And then you're going to also specify the thickness. So the thickness for this is an eighth of an inch, 0.125. Hit the OK button, and your part should just shell out just like that. And that makes that a pretty simple thing to do. So think about that. If you're 3D printing this part, you would never want to 3D print that with all of that material inside of that. So, that would be like the advantage. You could get a sense of how much material would be in this piece right here using that shell feature, and you do not have to keep that solid. All right, so let's move on to the pattern. So what we're going to do now is create a pattern on that top surface. This is kind of a little weird kind of way we're going to do. We're going to start drawing this little rectangle off to the side. We are going to use a rectangle pattern, so we're going to be, setting this up with the number of rows, the number of columns, the space in between each one of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to array the extrusion. So this rectangle that we're locating out here is going to be cut. So we're going to be arraying that cut feature. Very similar to when we did a polar array of a feature that was a solid. We can also array a cut. So we've just got to get this rectangle located in the right location. So 1.17 from the edge, and 1.145 from the vertical axis. We're going to finish this sketch, and we're going to cut this piece. Make sure we're cutting it down a distance of 0.13. So for some reason, when I did that there, it turned into a circle, so I had to cancel that and then go back and make sure that that was supposed to be a rectangle. So make sure I'm cutting down into the part 0.13. So change that to cut, hit OK, and now we're ready to use the rectangle feature or rectangle pattern to look at that. So up in that upper right hand corner of that part, hopefully you see a little cutout in your part. So if you don't see that, point to the extrusion over in your model browser bar. That's going to be probably the easiest way for you to identify that cutout. So the last thing last extrusion you have should be the feature that you're selecting. From here, we're going to put in the number or the direction in which we are going. So I'm going to use this vertical line here, or the diagonal line going down the extrusion, and then we're going to use we're going to specify the number of items, making that 5 items, and then we're going to have the spacing set at 0.6. And then we're going to look at direction 2. So direction 2 is down the outside edge of the handle. So select that edge So be careful not to select one of those work planes. We're selecting the edge of the handle. Then we're going to change the number of items to 10, and we want the spacing to be 1/4 of an inch for this. Hit the OK button, and hopefully your pattern comes out just as easy as that one right there. So there we go. Doesn't that look nice? All right, so we're almost done with this. The last thing we're going to need to do is to create a sweep feature. So a sweep feature is allowing us to specify like a boundary and specify either adding a part or cutting a part along a projected plane or a boundary for an item. So the first thing we're going to do is you create a new sketch. With that sketch, we're going to project the geometry. So we've got that that outline of the blower housing for the profile. So we're going to switch it over to the end here now, and we're going to draw the rectangle. So this is kind of the cutout that we would use in order to snap the two pieces together. So we want to have just a little lip cut into this blower housing all the way around. And the easiest way to do this is to use the sweep command in order to have that cut out consistently all the way around the entire loop of that profile. So we're going to place the dimensions on here that are given to us in the book. So we just started with the rectangle kind of up to the top there. I'm going to use the rectangle of 0.125 for the length of that, and then the thickness of that's going to be 0.0625, and then just locate that 0 to the axis, and then bring the top of that rectangle down to the top edge of that extrusion right there. So make those 2 points right there, make that 0, and that's going to bring that rectangle down. So that is the profile that we're going to look to cut out along the sweep. So go ahead and finish that sketch, and then we're going to pick the sweep command, and we're going to select along the path that we've already specified when we use the project geometry. So first thing, pick the profile, make sure we're in cut, and then now select the path, selecting the outer line, and now that path has been generated. Hit OK, and then it's automatically going to cut that size rectangle out around the entire piece. There you go. So you can go ahead now and go back through your drawing. You can go ahead and change the visibility of your, I'm changing the visibility of that sketch there because I don't need to see that edge. I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility off on those extra work planes. I don't really need to see those anymore. And you should be proud of that part. That's a lot of your advanced level commands being used all in one part. But this is always such a really rewarding drawing. It's pretty awesome to see all that come together. So make sure you save that when you. So go ahead and upload this as a IPT file, and that's it.